you're watching GW News Recap. I'm your anchor Azin Jamir, bringing to you the top stories of the week. Let's have a look at the stories that made it to the headlines. Nagaland's ruling Nationalist Democratic Progressive Party on October 18 formally adopted a resolution for merger with the Naga People's Front. The Ministry of Home Affairs constituted a tribunal consisting of Justice Nelson Silo, judge of the Guwahati High Court, for adjudicating whether or not there is sufficient cause for declaring the National Socialist Council of Nagaland Kaplang a banned organization. The Central Bureau of Investigation has uncovered assets worth several crores from an executive director of the National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited following his arrest in a bribery case earlier this week. Israel said Hamas handed over 2 coffins of deceased hostages from Gaza on October 18, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu increased pressure on the militant group to share the rest more quickly under the ceasefire. And now the news in details. Nagaland's ruling Nationalist Democratic Progressive Party on October 18 formally adopted a resolution for merger with the Naga People's Front. The decision was taken during the party's 6th General Convention, in which Party President Chingwang Kunyak, Chief Minister Nipirio, Deputy CM D.R. Ziliang, ministers and legislators and leaders and workers from across the state took part. The convention deliberated extensively on the NPF's proposal to amalgamate both parties under the banner of the NPF, one of the oldest regional parties in the country. After detailed discussion, the House unanimously adopted the resolution in accordance with the NDPP constitution, terming the NPF's move major and well calibrated. The NDPP expressed confidence that the merger will create a stronger and unified regional force to represent the voice and aspirations of the Naga people. Reaffirming its commitment to the Naga political issue, the NDPP said that the merger would contribute to achieving a lasting resolution to the Naga political question. The merger of the 2 regional political parties will further cement our dreams and aspirations of a vibrant and developed people, the resolution added. Acknowledging the leadership of Konyak and Rio, the resolution credited their sheer dynamism and political presence for steering the party to its present stature. The convention extended its unwavering support and endorsement to both leaders to ensure a smooth transition of the merger process with the NPF. The resolution was moved by the NDPP Resolution Committee comprising KJ Kanye, H. Chupachang, Aho Vijamomi, Benjamin Lorin and Marintushi R. Jamir, while the House adopted it. The merger will officially take place on 21st October in the NPF General Convention, which also marks the party's 63rd Foundation Day celebration. Rio and Konyak described the merger resolution as a historic moment aimed at fostering regional unity and strengthening the Naga cause. The upcoming merger would mark a new chapter in Naga political history that embodies reconciliation, unity and collective strength, Rio said, adding that the move would create a single strong regional party capable of better representing Naga aspirations and addressing the long-pending political issue. The Kohima bench of the Guwahati High Court has quashed the written test introduced midway in the recruitment process for excise constables under the Department of Excise and Prohibition, ruling that the rules of the game cannot be changed after the game has started. Justice Yaranjongla Longkumar delivered the judgment on October 16 in a case filed by 16 petitioners challenging the Departmental Recruitment Board's decision to introduce a written test through a corrigendum dated June 4, 2025, after the advertisement of 40 posts was published on 7 April 2025. The court held that the TRB's decision to introduce a written examination midway through the selection process was arbitrary and in violation of the Article 14 of the Constitution. It observed that candidates prepare for recruitment based on the procedure specified in the advertisement and that altering the process later puts them at a disadvantage. Citing Supreme Court judgments, the court reiterated that recruitment rules and procedure must remain consistent once the selection process begins. evidence. The court stated that while the government has the authority to prescribe a written test, such method must be notified in the initial advertisement and not introduced later. Accordingly, the court quashed and set aside the corrigendum dated June 4, 2025 and also invalidated the physical test conducted in contravention of the government memorandum dated July 19, 2016, which laid down specific physical and medical standards for field staff recruitment. The court directed the state respondents, particularly the Excise Department, to conduct the recruitment strictly in accordance with the April 7, 2025 advertisement limited to physical test and viva voce as originally stated. However, it added that if the government wished to include a written test, it must issue a fresh advertisement compliant with constitutional provisions and conduct a fresh process. The writ petition was accordingly allowed and disposed of with no order as to cause. The Minister of Home Affairs constituted a tribunal consisting of Justice Nelson Silo, Judge of the Guwahati High Court, for adjudicating whether or not there is sufficient cause for declaring the National Socialist Council of Nagaland Kaplang a banned organization. The Centre on September 22 decided to extend the ban imposed on the NSCN-K along with all its factions, wings and front organizations for 5 more years due to its involvement in activities prejudicial to the sovereignty and integrity of India. The ban was effective from September 28 for a period of 5 years. On October 17, the Home Ministry announced the constitution of the tribunal in exercise of the powers conferred by subsection Clause 1 of Section 5 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967. The central government hereby constitutes the Unlawful Activities Prevention Tribunal consisting of Justice Nelson Silo, Judge of the Guwahati High Court, for the purpose of adjudicating whether or not there is sufficient cause for declaring the National Socialist Council of Nagaland Kaplang with all its factions, wings and front organization as unlawful association. The Home Ministry had said the outfit was also allegedly indulged in kidnapping for ransom and extortion of money from businessmen, government officials and other civilians, possessed illegal arms and ammunition and obtained assistance from anti-India forces in other countries to procure arms and other assistance. The Central Bureau of Investigation has uncovered assets worth several crores from an executive director of the National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited following his arrest in a bribery case earlier this week. The officer, posted at NHIDCL's regional office in Guwahati, was caught red-handed on October 14 while allegedly accepting a Rs 1 lakh bribe from a private individual. The payment was reportedly meant to secure a favorable extension of time and a completion certificate for a highway construction project in Assam. Subsequent raids at his premises in Guwahati, Ghaziabad and Imphal led to the recovery of Rs 2.62 crore in cash along with documents pointing to extensive investments in high-value assets. This include 9 luxury apartments, 1 premium office space and 3 residential plots in Delhi NCR, a premium apartment and residential plot in Bangalore, 4 apartments and 2 plots in Guwahati and multiple land holdings in Imphal West. Investigators also seized documents relating to 6 high-end vehicles, 2 luxury watch valued in lakhs and a 100-gram silver bar. According to CBI, many of the properties appear to have been purchased at undervalued prices and are under verification. The agency had registered the case based on source information against the NHIDCL officer and 2 representatives of a private company involved in the 4-laning of National Highway 37 between Timau and Moran Bypass, among other projects. Both the public servant and a private individual were produced before the special CBI court in Guwahati and remanded to 3 days of police custody as the investigation continues. Over 1,250 candidates have filed their nominations to contest the 121 seats going to polls in the first phase of the Bihar Assembly elections on November 6, according to data from the Election Commission of India's affidavits portal. Amid incomplete seat-sharing talks between the Mahagathbandhan or the India Alliance and the visible unity among the ruling National Democratic Alliance partners, the process of filing nominations for the first phase concluded on October 18 evening. prominent political figures were among the early filers. RJD leader Tejaswi Yadav and State Deputy Chief Minister Vijay Kumar Sinha of the BJP also filed 2 nominations. Tejaswi, contesting again from Rakhopur, dismissed speculation about contesting multiple seats and voiced confidence of winning a 3rd consecutive term. Within the NDA, the major allies have released multiple lists of candidates. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's JDU made public the names of candidates for all 101 seats it will be contesting in the assembly polls, with more than half of them from the backward and extremely backward classes, besides 4 Muslims. The BJP, contesting 101 seats like its ally, announced a second list of 12 names, taking its total declared candidates to 83. The BJP's list features folk singer Mitali Thakur, recently inducted into the party and filtered from Alinagar, and former IPS officer Anant Mishra, contesting from Buxar. The Lok Janshakti Party Ramvilas, headed by Union Minister Chirag Paswan, released its first list of 15 candidates after securing 29 seats under the NDA seat-sharing formula. The list includes State President and former MLA Raju Tiwari, who will contest from Govindpur. On the opposition side, the Congress announced its first list of 48 candidates featuring sitting MLAs such as Unit President Rajesh Ram and CLP leader Shakil Ahmad Khan. Former Bihar Minister Tej Pratap Yadav, who was recently expelled from the Rashtriya Janata Dal by his father and party chief Lalu Prasad, submitted his nomination papers from Mahua in Vaishali district. Now heading his newly floated outfit Janshakti Janata Dal, Tej Pratap has announced a list of 21 candidates for the polls. The Aam Aadmi Party has so far announced 59 candidates for the polls. Political consultant turned politician Prasant Kishore's Jun Suraj Party announced its 116 candidates' names. As the nomination process for the first phase wraps up, clarity over alliances and remaining seat-sharing arrangements is expected in the coming days, setting the tone for a high-stakes political contest across Bihar. The elections for the first phase will be held on November 6. The second and final phase of the poll will take place on November 11 in 122 assembly seats. The counting of votes will take place on November 14. Israel said Hamas handed over 2 coffins of deceased hostages from Gaza on October 18, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu increased pressure on the militant group to share the rest more quickly under their ceasefire. The bodies were in Israel and were being taken to the country's National Institute of Forensic Medicine. Hamas has now handed over the remains of 12 of the 28 dead hostages in Gaza, a key step in the week-old ceasefire process meant to end 2 years of war. The militant group says devastation and Israeli military control of certain areas of Gaza have slowed the handover. The statement by Netanyahu's office of the Rafah crossing came shortly after the Palestinian embassy in Egypt said it would reopen Monday for people returning to Gaza. Hamas called Netanyahu's decision a violation of the ceasefire deal. The Rafah crossing has been closed since May 2024 when Israel took control of the Gaza site. A fully reopened crossing would make it easier for Gazans to seek medical treatment, travel or visit family in Egypt, home to tens of thousands of Palestinians. Hamas-led militants killed around 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and abducted 251 people in the attack on southern Israel that sparked the war on October 7, 2023. Well, viewers, that's it for this week's news recap. And for more news like this, you stay connected to Global Window. Good night.